Hello, I'm Jesse McAnally.
And I'm Andrew DeWolf.
And I'm Brianna Jones.
And welcome to Musicals with Cheese, a podcast where I try to get Andrew and Brie to like musical theater. How are you guys doing today?
Oh man, well, I just joined a gang. We're a happy little family. We run around. We harass Puerto Ricans.
Do you also dance ballet steps while doing it?
Well, is it even a gang if you don't?
You're right. You're right. I mean, I know, but I was a part of your gang, and you know what? I've fallen in love with this girl that I met under the bleachers and/or across the gym, depending on where you're looking at me. And you know what? I think you should stop fighting with the Puerto Ricans.
Man, that sounds like reasonable advice. I'm not going to take it. In fact, I'm going to buy a gun.
No, you're only doing that in the remake, not in the original.
That's true. That's true. I do like that, though.
This week we are talking about West Side Story and all of its incarnations. Cue the music, Brie.
When you're a jet all the way from your first cigarette to your last dying day. When you're a jet, if the spit hits the fan, you got brothers around, you're a family man.
You're never alone.
You're never disconnected.
You're home with your own. When company's expected,
You're well protected. Then you are set with a capital J, which you'll never forget till they caught you away. When you're a jet, you stay up.
West Side Story is a musical with music by Leonard Bernstein and lyrics by, Stephen Sondheim, and a book by Arthur Lawrence. It was based on William Shakespeare's play Romeo and Juliet. It premiered on Broadway at the Winter Garden Theater on September 26, 1957, and closed June 27, 1959, after 732 performances. So, the Broadway show was not a hit. In fact, at the Tonys, it lost Best Musical to The Music Man, which, considering it's comparing their impacts on the grand world in total,
The Music Man's pretty good.
The Music Man's good, but it is a lot more of the classical Broadway than, say, West Side Story and its wacky dance numbers and weird experimental storytelling.
I guess. I can't be upset about The Music Man winning, though.
No. But the plot is, it transposes Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet to the gang-ridden streets of 1950s Manhattan, dominated by the Sharks and the Jets. Two teens from the bitter enemy gangs meet and fall in love at the faithful gym dance. All right, so all three of us have now seen the West Side Story film adaptation by Steven Spielberg. And
Yes.
Andrew and I have both seen the original Robert Wise, Jerome Robbins film from 1961. And
Yes.
I have forced myself to watch a couple of the Broadway versions so I could see how different it is. Including the very not good 2020 production that both had a dance director that was a sexual assaulter, as well as it was basically a film. There's more projected scenes where they're just showing clips as opposed. It feels like a Disney World ride, to be honest, where it's all right, we got our animatronic, and now we're just gonna play a clip from The Little Mermaid.
What?
Yeah.
This was on Broadway?
It was on Broadway when the pandemic closed, and then when pandemic ended, it didn't end. When Broadway reopened, that show did not reopen.
Understandable.
Yeah. So I'm curious, Brie, have you ever seen any other version of West Side Story or heard of it before this?
I've heard of it, but I had never seen any other adaptations.
I saw this one version of it where they were old-timey and they spoke in weird language. It was weird. They had different names though.
Oh, yeah.
I got your joke there, Andrew.
Yeah, good joke. I have seen that one too.
But Brie, you and I got to sit in the theater next to each other and nudge each other, and you got to hear me say and react out loud to bullshit
I did.
while watching it. So how was that experience?
That was fun. You know what? There was only a couple times I could hear you scoff and you'd be like, ugh, or, huh. But really, that was about it. It wasn't too bad.
A lot of things were just impressing me, and then the dumb thing happened where the dumb thing happened. I was like, oh, you didn't even try there.
I think that Jess has to explain himself because I've heard that he's got bad takes on this one.
Okay. I don't like West Side Story. I never really have.
Boo.
I know.
No,
Boo.
thank God. Because I was telling Jacob, because Jacob went with us. Jacob's my boyfriend. I was telling him, I was like, I didn't like it. And he's like, I thought it was pretty good. And I was like, no, I didn't like it. But go ahead, Jess.
So you're both wrong. It was good.
And it feels bad because I know I'm like the hashtag musical theater expert on this show, at least according to like the fucking bullshit on our podcast page. But this has always been one that I've never really liked. Like, it's been so hard for me over the years to watch the film adaptation with Robert Wise and Jerome Robbins directing. And that film is so ubiquitous, so like what people think musical theater is. And I watch it, and nothing about it is very effective to me. Not even mentioning like the brown face and all the other stuff. I don't think it's an effective film. And Sondheim agrees with me. He does not like that film. And I then, only seeing the 61 film, not liking it, not enjoying it, see the Steven Spielberg film, and a lot of the same problems there are fixed. Like, it is 85% fixed with what I don't like about the Jerome Robbins, Robert Wise film. And I still didn't like it. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? So all day today, feeling sick as a dog, from my booster, I watched as many bootlegs of Broadway and stage versions of West Side Story as I could get my hands on. And it's still not hitting for me. And I can appreciate its impact on the Broadway world. I appreciate its impact on filmmaking. I appreciate how the songs have entered ubiquity. But there's no fixing the fact that Maria's just gonna go and let the guy that murdered her brother free blast inside her and then run off into the night with him? That's like a bridge too far.
That's not a problem with West Side Story. That's a problem with Romeo and Juliet. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
You know,
Take it up with Shakespeare.
you know, they didn't have to keep that part.
I mean, they kind of did.
No, they kind of
Like-
didn't. They can add a whole song about a gun, but they don't. They have to keep that specific part in.
I mean, how else is the conflict going to start?
The conflict has started. The conflict has begun.
But Maria wouldn't be tied to the sharks in any real way.
Like, how do you justify that as a character move, Andrew?
Well, the way that they justify it in the Shakespeare one is that they're cousins and she doesn't actually give a shit. And I think that's what they should have done.
But I think they should have just made Tony not directly responsible for Bernardo's death and have it kind of be like much less intentional. And I know the Spielberg movie adds an arc that is not present in any other version where Tony's getting out of prison and he's on parole and he almost killed a kid, and that's like his big like path that's hanging over him. So when he does take a life, it means more. That's some good stuff. Still don't think he should have killed Bernardo. It should have been a lot more accidental.
I mean, it kind of was accidental. He was there to stop it from happening altogether.
But
and
once
then it
he
was
like
a
grabs
fit
a
of
knife
passion.
and still.
Like, I don't know. I think your problem was with Romeo and Juliet. I mean, that's the story.
Maybe
That's how
don't
it goes.
adapt Romeo to Juliet so 1-to-1. And on top of that, I am not really engaged by the songs. The songs tend to stop the story, in the musical at least, and a lot of it is wheel spinning. And Spielberg does a lot of very smart things to try to make every song have an impact on the story, which I appreciate as well. But that was a lot of my biggest issues with the 61 film is the songs don't push the story. They are very performative and not suited to the film forum.
I don't think you understand what the story is.
What
The
is
story-
the story?
Is dancing and dance fighting. That's what I'm there to see. Every time it cuts to the love story, that's the story stopping. The story is when they dance.
I agree and disagree because there are sometimes moments I think are really effective with the dancing. Like Cool in the Steven Spielberg movie is the only time I've ever liked that song. It has never worked in any other version except for the Spielberg movie. And in no other version has it ever been relevant to the story, really.
I think they did a really good job with the whole gun thing in the Spielberg one.
Yeah.
They make the gun more of a like escalation that's going like Riff is like going out of his way to get, and like I don't know, that's really good.
And I think adding that backstory for Tony about him being on parole, which is not present in most versions, is so good and putting him in a darker spot than he ever was, making him a dangerous character. Where in the other ones he's like, oh, I'm a nice guy.
Tony's very whitewashed.
I mean, a lot of things are whitewashed in the 61 film. But while we're talking about that song, Cool, in the Broadway show, it is right before they have the discussion about where the meeting is going to be, where the Rumble is going to be. And that's Riff trying to cool down everyone before the Puerto Ricans come in, and they make an arrangement, which doesn't work, really doesn't work. And then the
Doesn't
movie
really make sense.
Yep. Then the movie's like, well, that doesn't work. Let's put it somewhere that makes no sense in a different way. And they put it right after the Rumble, and it's them trying to calm down after like their patriarch is dead.
I feel like they just have this song and they just are like, how do we use it?
Exactly.
I think the way to use it is how they used it in the new movie.
Yeah, and that was a brilliant scene. I think that scene was absolutely incredible.
Though it does make you be like, man, why didn't he just throw the gun into the river? He should have just done that.
Yeah. Another thing I liked about the Spielberg movie that is a problem with the original and the Broadway show is Maria and Tony don't just get married. They just make a vow to each other at a church, which is just cute and works. Where in the movie,
Which is
they just
actually,
get married.
I'm pretty sure them actually getting married is from Romeo and Juliet. So they
Yes, it
actually
is.
strayed away from that to make it better.
100%. And I think the dialogue, newly written dialogue by Tony Kushner, who you may recognize from Caroline or Change or Angels in America, is significantly better and makes every character feel their own, alive, and real.
Yeah. Things that are weird in the new one
Let's go.
that I don't know if I liked as much. I Feel Pretty placement after the Rumble. A little weird. Don't like that.
Well, that's the way it is in the stage show.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not a fan.
Well, let's talk about how it happens in the stage show. And in the stage show, that's what you return from Act 2 to see. So the Rumble ends Act 1. Y'all go get your dinner or whatever the fuck, your snacks, your $20 wine or whatever the fuck you get during intermission. And you come back and you have that song where everyone can sit down. And the placement works better there than it does in the other film, mostly because it kind of slows down the other film, where this is like a much needed break after a really big scene. So I can get the argument. Now, let's talk about why Sondheim hates this song. May he rest in peace. And why I think he loves this version made by Spielberg a lot. So, Sondheim was very, very young when he did this show. I think he was 26, same age as we are right now when he was hired to do this show, his first professional gig. He was basically at the will of Leonard Bernstein, who has very specific needs, and he wants very poetic lyrics, where Sondheim's like, I'm not a poetic person. And he described his biggest issue with the song I Feel Pretty, meaning like they're too clever of lyrics and they don't suit the character. Like, what Puerto Rican girl coming right off the ship is going to be like, it's alarming how charming I feel, and make all these clever rhymes as if she's high class when she isn't. A high class person doesn't talk, or a low class person doesn't talk this way. It doesn't work. So I watched this film, I'm like, all right, let's see how you do it, Spielberg, let's go. And she's making fun of the rich upper class by pretending to be someone else. So it makes those lyrics suddenly work.
Yeah, it's like a mocking tone almost.
Exactly. And I can see why you can't change the song, but you can change the context and make those lyrics work. And now Sondheim's super happy with it.
I will say they add that strong theme of like gentrification, the evictions going on, which is I don't remember really being present at all in the 61 version.
Not really.
Maybe a little bit, like a tiny bit. They mention it. I think.
Like it wasn't nearly as big a part of it. It's more in the Broadway show though.
Okay, but I like that they kept it for the new movie though, and they didn't. Honestly, I felt like they downplayed a lot of that stuff in the 61 version. But...
Yeah, a lot of the 61 film is like, stylization, she's gonna do a spinny spin, then we're gonna be in a kaleidoscope, and now we're at the gym!
Yeah.
So, Brie, as someone that only saw the Spielberg one, why did you not like it?
I do have to agree with Andrew that I think my problem is with Romeo and Juliet and not West Side Story itself.
Well, Romeo and Juliet is the worst Shakespeare story.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there. It's the worst thing he's ever written.
Oh, God. Have either of you read Titus?
No.
A Winter's
it's the worst
Tale?
of the ones. The worst of the ones that people like consider good. You know.
Have you ever read the what the fuck is that one? Petruchio one. Fuck. The Taming of the Shrew, where you just beat and browbeat a woman until suddenly she's submissive to you, which is the plot.
That sounds like an excellent story. I don't know what you're talking about.
Shut up, Andrew.
That's how I get my ladies.
No. I thought you put them in the attic.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Exactly.
And then they set my house on fire. You're right.
Yes, exactly.
You already admitted to this, Jess.
I did. All right, Bree.
Well, you want me to continue?
What was happening?
I don't remember.
That's fine.
We were talking about how bad Shakespeare is.
Was, yeah, but no, I do think my problem is with the story itself of Romeo and Juliet. I find it very hard to believe that two people would fall in love in a day, get married. One of them kills their sibling, the other sibling, and then they just run off together. I just find that not believable, and so watching it, I'm just like, okay. And you know what's gonna happen. You know he's gonna die. I mean, I didn't see the original, but I knew I knew what was gonna happen. So the dancing, the way it was shot, the music, all of that was great, but it was the story itself I had a problem with. But it does sound like they made a lot of progress and a lot of changes to the original that I could see people liking it now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think this is just better than Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah,
well, yeah.
I'd rather watch this. I mean,
me
Romeo and
too.
Juliet doesn't have any fucking bangers in it, and this has at least 1.5.
It's
Also,
entertaining.
The thing with Romeo and Juliet that I always kind of hated is that the two families just don't like each other for no like discernible reason.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just like some historical thing. Whereas here it's like steeped in this like racial tension, which is like, wow, this is like heavy shit.
All right.
Like they don't like each other for reasons that are you have to process.
Well, since we're talking about the racial shit for a second, I want to talk about the 2020 production again, the 2020 Broadway revival, which cut, I feel pretty, by the way. It trimmed the entire show to be an hour and 40 minutes, so that it does not work. Like, it does not it actively does not work.
I mean, I Feel Pretty is a good song, though. I mean,
Yeah.
even if you don't like where it fits on the show, you can't cut that.
Yeah, well, they did, and they made the rape of Anita very, very explicit, in a horrible, horrible way. It's very, very, yeah.
Excellent. Just what we needed. That's what was missing.
They make it take place in modern day, and the Jets are a multicultural group.
That is missing the point.
Yeah, it kind of is. Like, Tony is a black man, and
The Jets are kind of like just they're
the Proud Boys
white gang. Yeah, and literally the police side with them at the beginning because they're white. Like that's kind of like a plot element, I feel like, as well.
it does. That musical misses the point. That stage version really misses the point.
So was it like what multicultural group versus the Puerto Ricans?
Yeah.
That's like not good at all.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, everyone hates them. Okay, that's good.
And everyone has iPhones on the stage, and then they'll intermittently cut to like the iPhone camera on the big like screen behind them to show the iPhone's point of view, and they'll be like,
That's like a Dear Evan Hansen thing to do.
yeah, it's like West Side Story via Dear Evan Hansen.
So West Side Story, but worse, objectively.
Objectively worse, and yet some people liked it a lot for some reason. Maybe I'm just wrong and don't
It's
get
the dancing.
The dancing wasn't even good.
Oh, never mind.
That I was watching it.
It was a bunch of you in the audience, and they're all just like, "Oh, good, they cut the dancing."
I don't even hate the dancing. When did I say anything bad about the dancing?
You always hate the dancing, I thought.
I don't always hate. I hate dance breaks. Like I hate it when like there's a 5-minute dance break and that's all we're looking at, like Hello Dolly type stuff. I'm not a big fan of kick lines. But this, I think the Spielberg film handles the dance elements a lot better than the original. So the film, as I said before, was co-directed by Robert Wise and Jerome Robbins. And any dance scene, Jerome Robbins would direct. And then any other dialogue, romance, whatever scenes, Robert Wise would direct. And the film feels so disjointed because of that. Like, it feels like two people directed it, not in a good way.
Yeah, you can tell that the camera work is like all over the place depending on what's going on. The dance scenes are shot like far away, but like everything, it's just wacky.
Yeah, that movie doesn't work. That does not work for me in any way. I think the pacing is all off. I think that the character work is really ill-defined. Now, they don't feel like human beings in that film. They feel like props for dancing and for all that. Aside from maybe Riff and Bernardo, no one in that movie feels like a genuine person. Oh, and of course, Rita Moreno as Nita, who would return for the Spielberg film as Doc's wife, Valentina.
Which is also changed in the Spielberg one.
Yes. Which did you prefer, the Valentina or Doc?
I think Valentina is better. It also is like, it's like a parallel to what's actually going on. It's like, this is what Tony and Maria could have been if everyone wasn't so hateful. Like, I don't know.
I like that too. And also just giving her somewhere works very, very well.
Yeah.
I want to... Spielberg is so good at movies. Like, I know this is not new information.
Wow, what a hot take.
I know, but sometimes I watch his films and I'm just frustrated that not all films could be made this well. And Spielberg's films, ever since he started working with Janusz Kaminski, his new DP that he's had, well, not new, he's had since the 90s, everything he's made, whether it be an Indiana Jones film or Schindler's List, kind of looks like a musical. He loves to use these big spotlights coming in through windows, whether they make sense or not. They all look like musicals. So why has Spielberg not directed a musical until now? It feels like that's the only thing he should have been directing.
Yeah, I'm really glad that this is by Spielberg, though. It's like, it's such a good adaptation, and we really need some good musical adaptations right now, because there's been some garbo coming out.
Yeah, but the thing is, this is not doing well at the box office. Yeah, it's only the first weekend. We still got the holiday coming up. It's made the same...
Such a bad time to release. You guys know that in New York, we literally just started mask mandates again on Monday.
Congrats.
So the Monday after this release, everyone is required to wear masks, which means movie theaters are probably not very popular right now.
I mean, our theater was dead, Brie. It was like the four of us and maybe 5 or 6 other people, and it's a big theater. It's 140 seats. Like, yeah, but remember, next week, they're looking at $250 million opening for Spider-Man.
Everyone's going to go to Spider-Man, because it's Spider-Man, and everyone wants to see the movie they already saw before.
It literally is. Remember Alfred Molina? Remember a guy from Lighthouse?
I can't even talk, because I'm going to see it too.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. Like, you're not even a Marvel guy, but I remember sending you that first trailer, and you're like, "Guess I have to see this now." I love those original Raimi movies.
I'm just so hoping that somehow, some way, Mysterio shows up, and it's a Bruce Campbell. It won't happen.
It won't. I would be great.
I wish.
Yeah,
maybe in like a post-credit scene. Maybe.
Well, we'll see. So. Spider-Man. West Side Story made $2 million its first weekend on like $150 million budget. That is on par with what The Greatest Showman made in its first weekend, released around the same time in December, up against Star Wars: The Last Jedi. And then it had legs to grow, and then by the end of it, it made like $500 million. So I'm hoping it has a similar trajectory to that.
I mean, it's a good movie. I think it can go. Like, I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot.
Like, while I don't like West Side Story, I want this to succeed. I want Spielberg to direct more musicals. Wouldn't that be great? Couldn't he do a good MAME? Give us a good MAME movie, please.
I can kind of see West Side Story, like the story not being that great, but it's a decent musical, and the movie was nice to see. Like, it's not like it's not like bad.
No.
I thought it was good.
But a lot of the fingers are being pointed at the male lead, canceled Elgort.
Yeah, I don't know why they picked that.
Well,
that's I can't defend that.
That's not their fault. Let's rewind, children, all the way back to 2019, when this film just wrapped production and filming. They finished this film in, I think, late 2019, early 2020. Like, I think they had a finished cut. They had a finished cut in February, because that's when Sondheim saw it.
Okay.
The allegations for Ansel Elgort came out mid-2020, so months after they had the finished film.
So it was like, we have the entire movie done, we're still releasing this.
What could you have done? It would have been, even after seeing this film, it would have been impossible to, like, Christopher Plummer replace him with someone else.
He's in so much of the movie, you can't do anything.
So, rocking a hard place, do you cut him out of the marketing?
It kind of stinks, too, because you could probably cast somebody better.
I don't think the weakest link.
Yeah, he really wasn't that good in the movie.
You know what his singing voice reminded me of? It reminded me of someone doing an impression of Adam Driver's voice in Annette. Like, not Adam Driver in Annette, but someone doing an impression of it.
I mean, I don't think he was like terrible, but
he's not the worst movie musical choice, but he's still not great.
Jeez, you could have gotten somebody better that wouldn't also be a detriment to your marketing.
And I think it stands out even more because everyone else in the film is a Broadway pedigree. Ariana DeBose, Mike Faist, Rachel Zegler, all of them are on a whole different level than him. He'd be good if he was like up against Hugh Jackman or something. Like, he'd be like, oh, he's all right.
Oh, yeah, Hugh Jackman, yeah.
But here, he's just outclassed by literally everyone else. Like, even Officer Krupke is Shrek from Shrek the Musical. Come on.
Yeah, he doesn't even get to sing a line.
No, and he's great. Can we talk about the most important thing? This is super important to me. Like, this is the best thing about the Spielberg's film's existence, and the thing that got me emotional in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
So in the musical, there's this character called Anybody's, who in most productions, stage show and the original film, is this girl that wants to be a part of the Jets group. And they're like, nah, get out of here. And here we have a trans performer, a trans non-binary actor, Iris Manas, portraying an outright trans non-binary character in the world of this musical. This big budget musical released by Disney has a trans character played by a trans actor. And that's fucking great. That is fucking incredible.
That is, yeah, absolutely.
With a major role, like a major role, as major as any of the other Jets.
Yeah, no, it's definitely very good. It was nice to see on the big screen because I feel like you never see that.
When have you ever seen that?
I can't. I'm trying to think of literally one other example and I can't. So.
And you know what? Everyone talk about in the marketing, like, oh, they did the bare minimum by actually casting like Latinx actors and actresses in the Latinx roles. But I think that's a big deal too. You didn't have to do that. They could have just done the thing that everyone else did in other versions where it was just like a town boy coming in, want to be a Jet. They took it and made it mean something. And that's fucking incredible. And their performance when they're like, I ain't no girl, or I think that was the line, right?
I only saw it one time,
and it was
I can't remember.
When they were locked up right before Officer Krupke.
It was something similar to that, yes.
Like, that was the moment I was like, oh, fuck, they're doing it. They're doing the thing. Like, as much as you could have done in a Disney-released musical, they did the thing. And you know what? Hats off to you, Spielberg. You didn't have to do it. And I feel like somebody pushed that through, and that's fucking incredible.
I'm honestly a little surprised knowing that it's from Disney that they allowed that to happen.
Well, remember, the 20th Century Fox buyout happened. They just got this film.
Oh, see, Disney didn't have a say.
Nope. They just got this film wholesale.
I think if Disney had a say,
that would not have happened.
In the movie. But thankfully, it is.
Well, when you got Spielberg, I mean, I could see like them being like, hey, can we cut that out? And Spielberg has enough clout to be like, no.
No, I put it in there on purpose.
Do you know who the fuck I am? I am Steven fucking Spielberg. You know what? We've been talking a lot about this films and our opinions, but let's compare our thoughts to those of the New York theater critics when this Broadway musical first hit the stage. It's time for our favorite section, Previews!
It's time for previews. It's time for previews.
This is from theater critic Walter Kerr. The radioactive fallout from West Side Story must still be descending on Broadway this morning. Director, choreographer, and idea man Jerome Robbins has put together and then blasted apart the most savage, restless, electrifying dance patterns we've been exposed to in a dozen seasons. Mr. Robbins never runs out of his original explosive life force, though the essential images are always the same. Two spitting groups of people advancing with bared teeth and clawed fists upon one another. There is fresh excitement in the next debacle and the next. When a gang leader advises his cohorts to play it cool, the intolerable tension between an effort at control and the instinctive drives of these potential killers is stingingly graphic. When the knives come out and the bodies begin to fly wildly through space under buttermilk clouds, the sheer visual excitement is breathtaking. Robbins has almost sacrificially assisted in the macabre and murderous onslaught of movement by composer Leonard Bernstein. Mr. Bernstein has permitted himself a few moments of graceful, lingering melody in a yearning Maria, in the hushed falling line of Tonight, in the wistful declaration of I have a love. But for the most part, he has served the needs of the onstage threshing machine, setting the fierce beat that fuses a gymnasium dance, putting a mocking insistence behind taunts at a policeman, dramatizing the footwork rather than lifting emotions into song. When hero Larry Kurt is stomping out the visionary insistence of something coming, both music and tumultuous story are given their due. Otherwise, it's the danced narrative that takes urgent precedence.
All right. So, once again, we have a reviewer much like Andrew who only likes the dancing.
We love dancing.
That's the best part. I mean, when the dancing is so much of it, I mean...
The dancing.
The dancing is good.
It is, but also... sometimes I want to get to the story. Like the gym scene, the mambo scene in the movie really, really kind of drags, where the Spielberg movie is like, all right, we're going to move the camera so much, so ridiculously much, and use it for character moments. Like when Chino finally shows his awkward dancing in the Spielberg film. My God.
I liked that.
Chino in general is better in the Spielberg movie.
Yeah, I feel bad for Chino.
I would have picked Chino over Cancel Hogord, but, you know, no one ever asked me what I'd choose. He had a job. He had his life together. He was going to be a lawyer. He's going to fix machines or something.
Then he went to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in jail, so...
Yeah, better than Ansel Elgort, who's in hell.
Wait, he's dead?
I mean, Tony is.
Oh, right.
But you know what?
Well, who did that?
You know what, Andrew? You bring up a good point. I blame Riff. Yeah.
You should.
But you know what? Let's dive into the insane world of Letterboxd now. Bree, Andrew, it's time to play 5-star, 1-star, where I read you some Letterboxd reviews of both the West Side Story movies, and you have to tell me whether it was a 1-star or a 5-star.
Oh, God, I'm so bad.
Will you tell us which movie it was, or do we just
I
have
don't
to
even
guess
know.
that, too?
You don't have to guess it. You can just...
Oh, God.
Are we ready?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
All right, Bree, you're on first.
Okay.
Who's on second?
You are. All right, this review says, I can kill now because I hate this movie now.
Killing is bad. 5 stars.
That's a 1-star.
Shit.
I find that
They
funny.
did watch to the end.
Yeah, they got to
They
the
did
end.
watch to the end.
All right, Andrew, your turn. This feels like it was written by you now that I'm reading it. Like it feels like...
Excellent.
Fellas, is it gay to have casual dance fights with your bros?
No, it is not. It can be if you want it to, but it is not. That's 5 stars.
That's a 1-star.
How is that a 1-star? Get out of here. I would if you start with fellas, it's positive.
All right, Bree, your turn.
Yes.
Being racist is cool. ... If you can dance. Sunglasses emoji.
Oh, God. 1 star.
That is correct. All right, Bree's got 1. All right, Andrew, you ready?
Yeah.
Bernardo and Riff had more chemistry than Maria and Tony.
I disagree, but I get the sentiment. Oh, jeez. I mean, that sounds like a 1-star, but we've had like 3 1-stars in a row. Oh, Lord. No, I'm taking the risk. 5 stars.
That is correct.
Oh, Andrew.
All right, Bree, your turn.
Okay.
This movie felt like a hate crime.
1 star.
Correct. All right, Andrew, you're up.
All right.
My crush rejected me. I want to die.
Is that even related to the movie?
Who knows, Andrew? Letterboxd is full of insane people.
That doesn't even happen in the movie.
Well, maybe that actually happened, and then they watched this movie.
Yeah, Andrew.
Oh my God. I mean, that seems like a 1-star. 1 star.
That's a 5-star.
Woohoo!
Oh my God, that doesn't make sense.
All right, Bree, you ready?
Yes.
They literally never shut the fuck up. If I lived in that neighborhood, I would move.
1 star.
That's a 5-star.
What? That makes no
All right,
sense.
Andrew, you ready?
Yes.
If they watched Detroit Urban Survival Training, nobody would have died. Shrug emoji.
What?
I don't know what that means,
They killed each other. They didn't. Okay. 5 stars.
That's a 1 star.
Okay, that's a 1. Yeah. Okay.
All right, Bree, you ready?
Uh-huh.
My edible peaked during tonight, and I saw the face of God.
5 stars.
That is correct. All right, Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
Someone give Rachel Zegler an award for pretending to be in love with Ansel Elgort.
Oh my goodness. I mean, good lord. I'm gonna say 1 star because they probably don't like that actor. So
That is correct.
okay.
I think you're tied now, you and Bree.
I don't know about that.
I got
Well-
3.
Andrew just got 3.
There we go.
All right.
Did I? I thought I only had 2.
Nope, you're 3 now. All right,
You know what? I'm not keeping track. He is. So
Bree.
Yes.
Not as good as Ghostbusters. Which, as someone that has seen Ghostbusters and still doesn't like West Side Story, this is much better than Ghostbusters.
Really? I kind of like Ghostbusters, but I guess which one?
wait.
I think they're referring to the new one.
Oh, that one was horrible.
Not the Lady Ghostbusters, the new one that just came out.
Oh, I haven't seen
I
that.
feel
one.
like you could just say either one of those is horrible, but
Yeah,
I
they
like
both look pretty bad.
I like
do.
the 2016 Ghostbusters.
with all the ladies.
Yeah, I like that one.
That one just looked like the original, but less funny.
At least it looked like a Ghostbusters movie. The new one looks like a ripoff of Spielberg, and it was a ripoff of Spielberg. It
Oh
resurrected.
no, the new one looks terrible.
It was terrible. It was so terrible.
Okay,
Good.
read me my prompt again.
Not as good as Ghostbusters.
Not as good as Ghostbusters. Okay, 1 star.
That is correct.
Woohoo!
That was an easy one, though. I mean, they literally were just saying how
Yeah.
good they thought
I
it
don't
was.
know. You never know, really.
All right, Andrew. You want some easy ones? Fine.
Are you giving me the easy ones?
I don't think I am, but
Don't go easy on me.
all right, Andrew. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
If someone killed my brother, I'd thank them. So I understand, Maria.
5 stars.
That is correct. All right, still a tied game. All right, Bree, you ready?
I am.
Halfway in and nothing has happened. I didn't pay $4 to watch gay porn. Andrew had the best spit take I've ever seen.
wrong videotape, my man.
$4 for gay porn. I mean, that's kind of cheap. 5 stars.
That is a 1 star, Bree.
Dang it.
All right, Andrew, you ready?
I'm ready.
Get it wrong.
Wanted to KMS at the end.
They got emotional about the ending. Understandable.
That's one way to react, I guess.
I don't know. This person seems like they overreact to things. Maybe a 1 star.
That is a 5 star. Dang it. All right, Bree,
Yes.
you ready? This
I
is the
am.
last one. One more for you, one more for Andrew, then it's done.
Okay.
Oh Lord.
And you guys are still tied, so.
Yeah.
There's way more sexual chemistry between the gangs than with any of the supposed romantic interests.
It's like the 5th comment that said that.
Yeah. But do they think that's a good thing? 1 star.
That's a 5 star. Andrew,
Fellas,
you can
is
win
it
this
gay
today.
to be in a gang and dance?
Yes, it is, objectively. All right, Andrew. Last one.
Uh-huh.
It's crazy to think what was happening on the east side during all of this.
Probably not much. I mean, it's West Side Story. I'm gonna just throw out a 5 stars. Just 5 stars.
And Andrew takes the lead and wins Reviews.
It's previews, not Andrew views.
Andrew's views.
Andrews.
I am the lettered boxed king. Undefeated. Even if I was, it doesn't count.
Still depressed about Kremet.
I checked your Twitter the other day to see if that was still in there.
Yeah, it's great. I'm so happy that it's there every time I see his Twitter.
Still depressed about Kremet.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all? Man, it's so wacky that this is our last episode of the year, and it feels so low-key and nice. Like, this just feels like a nice way to wrap up,
It
2021. Which, by all
2021
means...
sucked.
But it was a good year for musicals with cheese, all things considered.
Well, thank you to all our musicals with cheese fans.
Yes. Before our mid-show, just thank you. We'll be back. Yeah. How about we go into a mid-show and thank them individually?
Sure.
Hey Hey guys, sorry to interrupt you in the middle of the show, but we've got a shill at you. Today's show is brought to you by the extremely kind donations by our donors over at Patreon. Patreon's this wonderful place where you can find a lot of cool stuff like Patreon-only commentaries, our episodes a day early, video episodes so you can see all of our beautiful faces, and so much more. Also, we have our monthly Patreon meetups. We're starting that up again in January, so join in and you can play Jackbox games with me, Andrew, and Bree. It's a ton of fun. A lot of people really enjoy them. Andrew, who's currently supporting us on Patreon?
Our current patrons. Let me take a deep breath here because it's a big list. We have Melissa Goldman, Terry Niddleman, John Donna, Leighton Ackles, Danielle Renix, Jess the Stampede, Ewan Cassidy, Tess Skier, Monica Thoreau, Mina Maneri, Brent Black, Haley Murray, Nathaniel Stacy Coombe, Joseph Evans Green, Carrie Ahern, Mary Lou Choquette, John Vanals, Russ Walker, Musical Hell, Emily Gracie, Tablam, Kyle Summers, Janae C., Scoot in the Technicolor Dreamcoat, Liz Lim, Allison Stuller, Nothing is Certain Except Beth and Taxes, Thespian, Ren Cullen, Wait in the Wings, Rafael Martinez Salaz, Robert Benjamin, Jessica T., Mitchell Young, Chai Teacup, Katie McDonough, Timothy Keys, Jeffrey Machado, Chris Marquette, Timimu Robinson, Kiji Marie Anastasio, Leela, RJ Noriga, Sebastian Canino, Avon Reagan, Lizzie Haynes, Charlie B., Patrick Deering, Courtney Schreiner, Joe, Avery Brinson, sorry about that.
You're doing great, Andrew.
Marilyn Brown, there it is. Mel Cormack, La Femme Fictionale, Bjorn Hermans, Trenies? Is that Trenies? I'm going to say Trenies. Trenies Massey, August Gorman, Mac the Knife, Erica S., Toriana Vestal, Sammy the Most Lopez, and Lyanna Morton.
Hell yeah! You guys all support us this year, and we love you so much. Andrew did a great job reading your names. It did not take forever this time.
Good lord, I am just having trouble reading.
It's okay, I'm having trouble speaking. We're all having issues today.
I can never read or speak, so...
We're barely functional three humans on here together every week. It's great.
Just edit that and put it at 2 times speed and we're all good.
I probably
You've got to embrace the chipmunk voice, though.
I will embrace it.
Yeah, they get a lot of fun stuff. Come join us. Our Patreon's great. But let's get back to the show!
Yay!
So that opening number, the prologue, where there's just the dancing and they kind of mess with the sharks' territory, and it ends in the big fight. This scene's pretty great. Like in all versions, it's pretty great. Even in the 61 film, where it's really kind of cheesy and goofy, it works. The Spielberg film really, really made it sing, though.
I really like the opening of the Spielberg one, and when they go and they mess with it, and they're just painting over the flag there. Ooh.
It's a reveal.
Spicy.
It's a reveal.
It's spicy.
And I, like everyone else, looked at Twitter to see if anyone was complaining about that film, which of course they are. They're like, when did West Side Story get woke? And obviously they weren't paying attention to any of the other 900 versions over the last 40 years.
Well, I mean, I could see watching the 61 version and being like, oh, there's plenty of like brown face or whatever.
Yeah.
This isn't woke.
Yeah, it's just like Justin Trudeau's Halloween party. Like, oh, come on.
Yeah. No. I feel like if you look at the story, though, it's kind of always been woke, quote unquote, whatever you want to say.
I will say, strangely, the more recent adaptations are much simultaneously less sympathetic to the Jets and more sympathetic to the Jets, because they do get significantly more screen time and stage time than the Sharks do.
That was my one thing, is I kind of wish that the Sharks got more screen time overall.
Mm-hmm. Well, they try to give more personality to them in the remake, specifically Bernardo giving him like his boxing history and all that.
Yeah, but they still... I mean, there's way more focus on the Jets.
Yeah, and it bums me out because I don't know. I like the Sharks better as human beings. They're not fucking fascists.
I feel like the Sharks, you can understand their motivations better. I mean, actually, not their motivations. You can be more sympathetic to their motivations.
Yeah.
You can understand the motivation of the Jets. I just think that it's not a good motivation.
Yeah, you're like, I get what your motivations are. They suck dick, though.
Yeah, whereas the Sharks are like, hey, these, like, white people are fucking with us all the time, so, like, what if we beat them up?
Yeah. Hey, they're destroying my fucking, like, storefront. Can we, like, not do that, please?
Yeah, I think the only good thing I can say about the Jets is that they don't cooperate with the police.
Yeah, that is the one good thing. They aren't gonna just rat out to the police to get the Sharks in trouble. Which is the only bit of nuance that I really feel in the Jets, as strange as that is.
Yeah, and it's honestly a little surprising that they don't cooperate with the police, except for, I guess, that they don't like them, maybe due to something like what happened with Tony, where he went to prison.
Right. Well, that's only in the
remake.
Spielberg
In the
one.
remake version, it doesn't really make much sense in the 61, except for maybe it's like a pride thing. They want to deal with the Sharks themselves.
Maybe it's weird, but it's almost played up as a joke in the 61 film, where like if the police come in, they'll suddenly act like good buddies and all that. Like that kind of undercuts their anger at one another.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, interesting is a good word for it. I want to talk about the Jet song, specifically the one in the movie, the 61 movie.
When you're a jet, all the way from your first cigarette to your last dying day. When you're a jet, let them do what they can. You've got brothers around, you're a family man. You're never alone, you're never disconnected. You're home with your own. When company's expected, you're well protected. Then you are set with a capital J, which you'll never forget till they cart you away. When you're a jet, you stay a jet.
It sounds terrible, the 61 movie. It sounds so bad. It sounds like someone's improvising over a beat. You can't understand a word that they're fucking saying.
It's not that good in the remake either, in my opinion.
Yeah, the lyrics are great, but what the fuck is that score?
I don't quite understand it.
Like that part just sounds like they're just making shit up.
It's a little baffling. I guess they needed a song to introduce the Jets, and that was the best they could come up with. They put their effort into other songs, you know?
Yeah, but that's also one of the ones that has become iconic. Like, you know when you're a jet all the way, and you know that ba-na-na-na, because it's a melody that plays a lot during the show.
Yeah.
But that song has never sounded good.
I don't know what to tell you. They got to go back to the drawing board and fix that one up.
Steven Sondheim. Oh God, I was about to ask him to rewrite it, but I'm sad now.
I feel like he didn't write it either, though. So
no, he wrote the lyrics, but I'm like, hey, you know how to write songs. Why don't you go up in there and like fix that one up a little bit?
You got to call up Leonard and ask him to rewrite it.
He's dead. They're both dead now.
All the greats.
Yeah, except for Steven Spielberg. He's still kicking.
He doesn't make musicals, though.
Well, now he does.
Yeah, he's made one.
He's got one under his belt.
Give us some more. That's enough about the Jets song.
Yeah.
I don't have anything more to say. It's not.
I want to briefly cover Something's Coming, mostly to compare how they are used in the different film adaptations.
Could be. Who knows? There's something due any day. I will know right away, soon as it shows. It may come cannonballing down to the sky, gleaming its eye, bright as a rose. Who knows? It's only just out of reach, down the block on a beach, under a tree. I got a feeling there's a miracle due, gonna come true, coming to me.
For one, the moment I realized that Spielberg is way too good and should always direct musicals is how I discovered every scene he constructs is structured like a musical number. Specifically the song or the scene that precedes Something's Coming. The Jet song ends, Riff throws something, then we cut to Tony catching a can and trying to get the last can from Riff. Throughout that entire scene is just him trying to do that, which is a good representation of the back and forth between them. And like, it's Spielberg's so good at scenes that do like 4 or 5 things at once. Like, even in the worst Indiana Jones film, he's very, very good at those types of storytelling without putting a focus on it. And he puts that toward all of his musical numbers. Take Something's Coming, where in the original show, it's like he just has, something's great is coming. I'm going to go for that. I'm going to be a great guy because I'm Tony and I love baseball. Baseball metaphors. The Jets, baby.
The Mets, baby.
The Mets, baby. Where in the new Spielberg movie, it is like, hey, you have more potential to be better than you were, which is what the song is now recontextualized to be about, and makes a lot more sense of being about, like, I'm going to be better than I was, instead of, hey, something's going to be good. I want song. I'm the main character, everybody.
I think adding the backstory for Tony of, like, he almost killed somebody and went to prison for it, it makes more sense that he's got a bit of distance between him and the other Jets because of that. Mm-hmm. And it makes this song have more weight. And it also kind of makes when he does kill Bernardo have more weight.
Yeah, really does.
There's just a lot more that works because of just that small change.
Spielberg likes adding arcs to his characters. Even in the smallest of ways, it really does help the narrative and giving a shit about the story.
It does.
Well, we can't not talk about Tonight.
No, Tonight it plays a lot in the score, at least.
It is a gorgeous song. Like, even as like a number of people meeting in a way that I don't agree with it, it's so very beautiful. It is so gorgeous.
Tonight, the world is full of light.
With suns and moons all over the place. Tonight, the world is wild and bright, going mad, shooting sparks into space. Today the world was just an address, a place for me to live in, no better than alright.
I do like this one, yes. I don't really know what else to say.
Yeah.
It's a very pretty song. They play it quite a bit. It's kind of, in the movie, they almost do it as like a act closer, it felt like.
In the 61 movie?
It might have been both. I felt like there was almost an act close in the new movie as well, where they kind of cut to black for a couple seconds.
Yeah, they did. I know what you're talking about. Also, the scene following it, like, is one of my favorite Spielbergisms in the entire film. Spielberg loves his long shots. He loves a long take, and he loves to use his long takes to just set up some character stuff. So my favorite scene in the entire film is the night Maria wakes up after, like, having her night with Tony. She's still in the dress, and she has to make it look like she slept in her bed. She's like running around, messing up her hair, changing into her dress, messing up her bed. That is the best scene in the entire film. And I know it was just something that Spielberg's like, we need to do it. It's a character. We finally get to know Maria visually. And I think that's the most important scene in the entire film for Maria.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of like just little things that are added in that make it feel like there's actual characters in the movie.
Yes, or the lipstick thing. Like the added lipstick thing where she's like trying to put lipstick on, then she sees Bernardo, and then she wipes it off, and then right before she leaves, she puts it right back on. Like stuff that wasn't there that I know Spielberg is like, how am I going to make this character feel alive and say a lot about who she is as a person, as opposed to just having her be pretty and sing. So smart. Spielberg is so much better than everyone else. I'm so sincere. I don't like West Side Story, though.
I mean, he makes it look good.
He makes this look easy. He makes filmmaking seem so easy.
Let's see. You want to talk about America?
Yeah, we have to. We have
Da, da,
to.
da, 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 da.
Here you are free and you have pride.
Long as you stay on your own side.
Free to do anything you choose.
Free to wait tables and shine shoes. Everywhere crime in America. Organized crime in America. Terrible time in America.
You forget I'm in America.
I like this song. It's catchy.
It is.
I like Anita as a character. She's obviously probably the most tragic person in the most tragic character in the show, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
She has this song where she's arguing with Bernardo, and then so much bad stuff happens to her that by the end of it, she's singing about how she just completely agrees with everything Bernardo said.
Yeah. It's a fall from grace in a way. Like,
Yeah.
and
Like her character arc is becoming worse as a person because of everything terrible happening to her.
yeah. And I want to bring up Ariana DeBose as Anita in the Spielberg film, as well as Rita Moreno as Anita in the original film. Those two are obviously the standouts of their respective picture, but Ariana DeBose stands out even more because it feels like she's in a different movie than everyone else after the 2/3 mark. After the 2/3 mark, it seems like Rachel Zegler, Ansel Elgort, the Jets, they're all in a different movie and reacting in a different way. She's acting in the movie we just saw. Like, she's acting like the person I love died and now her sister wants to fuck her murderer. What? Like, she is dealing with so much anger. And then she just is like, I'm going to go do this one thing and then I'm going to call it a day. And then she gets sexually assaulted by these horrible men. Like,
Yep.
It is, and she's playing it like it's a drama. She's not playing it like it's a comic musical or anything like that.
You can't even be upset at her that she basically gets Tony killed, because it's just like, whatever. Like, honestly, fuck them.
Yeah. Fuck everything about this. Anita is the most compelling character in the entire story.
Very, very tragic character. Very good though. And America is a great little song about how she used to be optimistic, and now, and then later on, you can contrast it with what is it, A Boy Like That or something like that?
Yeah, A Boy Like That. Which, let's hold off on that one just a bit.
Yeah.
I want to briefly talk about G Officer Krupke, not really as a song, but as a song that has changed placement so much.
Dear kindly Judge Your Honor, my parents treat me rough with all their marijuana. They won't give me a puff, they didn't want to have me, but somehow I was had. Leaving listens, that's why I'm so bad.
Right, Officer Krupke, you're really a square. This boy don't need a judge, he needs a analyst care. It's just his neurosis that ought to be curbed. He's psychologically disturbed.
I'm disturbed!
We're disturbed, we're the most disturbed, like we're psychologically disturbed.
Look at where it's currently placed in the song list of the stage version, Andrew. Look at where that song is.
How did it get there? It's the second to last song in the stage version right now, apparently.
After A Man Like That, A Boy Like That, or right before A Boy Like That, which is, like, it's after the Rumble, after the murders, after everything. And then we had this comic number about how, like, he's messed up and, like, all that. It's such a weird choice. And the movie...
This needs to be before the Rumble, because this song is about why the Jets do what they do.
Yeah, it's a comedy number.
It's a comedy number that pretty much just leads up to they do what they do because they're bad people.
Yeah. And it's not a bad song, but also a very goofy number. And Spielberg really leans into, it's goofy, we're going to make it goofy, we're not going to take it seriously, it's going to be a moment to breathe. And it works perfectly as that.
He even adds that little character arc into the song by having a character that doesn't matter step up and start singing.
Yeah.
Because now he understands what it is to be a Jet.
Exactly. And wasn't he the one that got nailed in the first scene?
Yes, I think so.
Like, Spielberg is so fucking good at this. Wish he adapted a better musical.
He makes this one look good. I don't know what to say.
You know what he was supposed to do? Like, he worked on for years and years, and then Sondheim asked to put a kibosh on it.
What?
He was supposed to do Gypsy, starring Barbra Streisand.
Oh.
I don't like...
would have been very good.
I don't like Barbra Streisand in that role, but I think that movie would probably been pretty good.
They need to change the name of that.
They really do.
but I guess they haven't, so there's not really any other way to refer to it.
Yes. Last song, A Boy Like That. Anita's a big number. Literally the most like kind of Sondheim-y number, if that makes sense. Like the one that feels like a grandiose theater piece.
Yeah.
I think this is my favorite song. It's where the stakes really feel like to ramp up, and it seems to reflect that way in the score, where up to this point, it's like the score and the story are kind of separate entities. This is the one where it feels like they're married together.
A boy like that wants one thing only, and when he's done, he'll leave you lonely. He'll murder your love, he murdered mine. Just wait and see, just wait, Maria, just wait and see. Anita, no, it isn't true, enough for me. It's true for you, enough for me. I hear your words and in my head, I know they're smart, but my heart, Anita, but my heart. Boy like that, no see you love them. And my heart, forget that boy and find another. One of your own kind, stick to your own kind. To him alone, one thing I know. A boy who kills, cannot last. I don't care what it is. And he's the boy who gets your love and breaks your heart. You should know better. You were in love, or so you said. You should know better.
I like this song. And it's almost it's a sad song in a way. Not just because like it makes sense that she doesn't want Maria to be with Tony specifically.
Yeah.
But she has gone further than that, and now she's just on the you need to stick to your own thing.
Yeah.
You know, which is it's sad, but you know, that's the point.
Yeah, and then Maria, her argument in defense is like, but you loved a guy once too. You know how I feel.
Maria doesn't have a great defense.
No, she doesn't.
But Maria is I don't know if she's the brightest character. Tony and Maria kind of empty head, no thoughts, in my opinion.
Only love. No thought, only love. Only tonight, only somewhere.
Yeah.
I feel pretty.
Yeah. But
I will say Rachel Zegler played that as well as she could have. She did her best.
Yeah.
Give her a better musical next time. Apparently she's playing Snow White in Disney's new Snow White live action adaptation. So
Ah, good. I can't wait for that.
directed by the Amazing Spider-Man director Mark Webb.
Ah, so they got whoever they could, I see.
They got the best person for the job, Andrew. Can't you tell how much he loves Snow White almost as much as he loves Spider-Man?
He loves Snow White just as much as he loves his bank account.
Speaking of bank accounts, Andrew, before we go on to our cheese ratings, it's time for your Sondheim tier list update. Ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba!
Have this been pasted in the bottom?
It has been. All right, so can you remind us where your listing was for everything else?
Let's see. Well, it's 4 tiers. We have A tier, B tier, C tier, and D tier. There is no F tier. There's nothing higher than A. And I've only rated the stuff that we've covered, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
So in A tier, I have Sweeney Todd, Gypsy, and Into the Woods. In B tier, I have Merrily, I believe that's Sunday in the Park, Company, and Follies.
Mm-hmm.
In C tier, which one was this?
Pacific Overtures.
Pacific Overtures, Assassins, and Passion. And in D tier, I have that TV show that
Evening
we watched.
Primrose. That TV show we watched. Jesus Christ.
So I'm gonna put West Side Story in B tier.
Oh, I was actually expecting you to put it in A tier from how you were glowing about it.
No, it's Romeo and Juliet. I can't like it that much.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, you guys. What is our overall thoughts on West Side Story and our cheese rating? Bree, why don't you go first?
Okay.
Well, you sound so enthralled with our podcast. You love this, don't you?
Let me get those yawns out. I very much enjoyed going to a movie theater and getting to see a musical in person with you, Jess, and that was probably my favorite part.
I liked it. You are a great seat guest, I would look over at you and Jake sometimes whispering, and it just made me feel warm. I like hanging out with you, Brie, as a human being.
I like hanging out with you too. But yeah, that was my favorite part of the entire experience. The movie itself is good. You should go see it. Again, I just don't love the Romeo and Juliet story, but the music's good. It sounds like it was a lot better than the original, and that it had purpose, which I like. And so I'm going to give it none other than a New York cheesecake. 'Cause why not?
That's fair. Andrew, what about you?
Well, I really liked the new movie, and I thought that the older movie was decent. Though, to be honest, I think with this new one being out, there's not that much reason to go back. I'd say maybe some of the songs were performed a bit better in the older one. But that's about the only thing that I think wasn't improved. So go watch this. Go see it in theaters if it's still there. I think it's worth a watch.
It's worth a watch in theaters with the good speakers, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. That's all I have to say on that. As far as a cheese rating, I'm gonna give it a 99-cent New York cheese pizza slice, because I don't know, it's good.
You know what? That's fair. I don't like West Side Story. I think none of the adaptations have really fixed the issues I have with the show. I find it hard to engage with. I find it very, very unpleasant a lot of the time to listen to. I feel like there's 2 to 3 really, really good songs, and the rest of it kind of just washes over me. And it has a very slow as molasses pace until it ramps up, and then it feels like we fast forward to the end. I feel like the pacing and structure are really, really rough, and I think it needs improvement over the years, and that's the best part about theater. But maybe don't cut my I Feel Pretty and then have most of the stage show be a movie. Maybe that isn't the best choice for your West Side Story adaptation. But you know what? I don't run a Broadway house, so who cares what I think? So I am giving this as a cheese rating. Don Bernardo cheese, the finest PDO cheese from Spain. And I want it served specifically on the West Side Story cheese plates sold at Guthrie Theater.
Okay. They have special cheese plates.
Yeah, it has the West Side Story theater, or the logo on it.
Would you recommend the new movie as well?
It's better than the old movie. It's probably technically one of the best movie musicals ever made. I just wish it weren't based on West Side Story.
Well, when movie musicals are often so disappointing, I feel like you can't be... beggars can't be choosers.
I agree. This is not a disappointing movie musical. It's good in mostly every way, better than its predecessors, and made me emotional in ways I didn't expect. So yeah, go check it out. More movie musicals like this, please. No more Greatest Showmans. No more Dear Elvin Hansen.
Yeah.
And also, Happy New Year's, everybody. We'll see you in 2022, I guess.
Happy New Year.
But let's thank our wonderful listeners. Please follow us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and Musicals with Cheese. We're on Twitter at Cheesy Musicals, Patreon Musicals with Cheese, Instagram Musicals with Cheese, YouTube page Musicals with Cheese. We have a Patreon-only podcast called Patreon with Cheese. Email us at musicaltheaterlives@gmail.com. Our title card is created by the amazing Jolene Casco. Go follow them on Instagram at Jolene Casco. Our keeper of the cheese is Juliet Antonio. This show is produced by the incredible, the wonderful, the lovely Brianna Jones. Yay! Our theme songs were produced by Robin Nash via U Music UK. Thank you to the Broadway Podcast Network for having us on the platform and for not kicking us off for talking mad shit about West Side Story. All right, you guys, anything else we should say before we wrap this on up?
Maria!
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I met a girl named Maria.
I feel you, Maria.
Hey, Joanna's a better song than Maria, and I still don't even like Joanna.
I agree, it is a better song.
Yeah. I want to be in Maria. I am gonna be in Maria. That's Tony's theme song.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind?
We're ending on a high note, guys. End of 2021
Should old acquaintance be forgot and dance of all blank
mankind. See you in 2022, bitches.